only thing, the boxing people don't know more. The only thing they know is how much the guy runs and trains. But when they come in 2 minutes in the ring, anything can happen. I don't care what, anything can happen.
See, or he's overrated. And I'm not saying he's that. I'm just saying that it didn't matter enough to go and do what he had to do.
Was actually countering Canelo Alvarez quite a bit. So as Canelo would throw, he would just sit there, wait, block, and then boom, an uppercut or a right hand. Another mistake that Canelo was making too is he was throwing like one shot and then he was coming back square.
Mike Tyson didn't hold back after Canelo Alvarez's crushing loss to Terence Crawford, calling the Mexican star overrated. According to Tyson, Canelo looked ordinary once he stepped into the ring with Crawford, who controlled the fight with superior skill and precision. Tyson argued that the bout revealed Canelo was never as dominant as many had believed, and that the defeat exposed long-standing weaknesses in his game. While praising Crawford's performance as
you gonna catch him? I'm just telling you, but when those guys started beating Chavez was already an old man, though. I gotta get from that, though. You gotta get him there. You know, you have man, he got him beaten in like 90-0 before he got beat. Oh, you gotta look at those scenarios too, man.
Renowned trainer Teddy Atlas has long been a critical voice in the boxing world, and when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, he hasn't held back. Atlas argues that Canelo's reputation has been inflated by promoters, fans, and media who have prematurely crowned him the king of boxing without truly scrutinizing the substance of his career. While acknowledging Canelo's big victories, Atlas contends that many of his opponents were carefully selected, giving the illusion of a stronger resume than what actually exists. In his view, the image of Canelo as an unbeatable force is more myth than reality, crafted through marketing rather than
fighters up in arms. We actually sometimes said he fought a smart fight. But when he didn't fight the kind of fight to make it an entertaining fight against our guy, against the popular Canelo, again, the king, so to speak, then we completely attacked the guy. So I think that that's got to be looked at a little bit, to be fair.
Mike Tyson had predicted even before the fight that Terence Crawford would outbox Canelo Alvarez, expressing full confidence in Crawford's skills and stating that Bud could beat anybody. Tyson's belief underscored that he never saw Canelo as unbeatable. Rather, he recognized Crawford's adapt.
Great fight. 50-50. I want to say Crawford. I say 50-50.
You don't think it's 50-50?
60-40, but you going to tell him which one?
You think Crawford can stop him?
Crawford can stop anybody. I'm not saying he can't, he's going to, but he can't.
Beyond Teddy Atlas, other analysts have also weighed in on why Canelo Alvarez is often considered overrated. Some point to the shadow of performance-enhancing drug accusations that briefly tainted his career, noting how he emerged with minimal damage to his reputation. More significantly, critics focus on his career trajectory following a lopsided loss to Floyd Mayweather. After that defeat, Alvarez became increasingly selective with his opponents, frequently choosing fighters who were either past their prime or posed stylistic advantages. This approach enabled him to collect titles and maintain his star power, but it also raised questions about whether he genuinely tested himself against elite competition at their peak. By carefully managing his career path, Canelo...
Alright, this guy right here is overrated as fuck, and I'm gonna tell you why. Now, early on in his career, when he was the young up-and-coming contender, undefeated at the time, we all remember that infamous match with Floyd Mayweather. He just got dog-walked. Floyd Mayweather completely outboxed him, completely outclassed him, and that fight ended up being a split decision, which is crazy, because if you've seen the fight with your own two eyes, I don't think Canelo landed one clean punch on Mayweather entire fight, and it wasn't even close. Also, early on in his career, he was accused and caught cheating performance enhancers. And you know what they say, once a dirty fighter, always a dirty fighter. Even though that's not factually the case, because he was able to move on with his career, bounce back from that loss, bounce back from the cheating accusations, and make like a great boxing legacy for himself. In the court of public opinion, normally with most fighters that are, caught cheating at any point in this career, it always sticks with them. But with Canelo, it seems like everybody forgets. Now, obviously, to this day, he's still looked at as one of the faces, if not the face of boxing. But I think the way people Floyd, especially in the back half of his career of picking and choosing his fights, protecting his own, protecting his legacy, Canelo definitely has followed Mayweather model. Not only in his game, he became a more defensive fighter after fighting Mayweather, and especially as of late, he's not taking as much punishment, but it's also because he's not fighting very dangerous fighters, and when he does, he gets exposed. One of his also top, more formidable opponents was Triple G, that trilogy. The first fight was a draw. The second two fights, Canelo won unanimous decision, and an ununanimous decision for the third, but I don't think the results, reflected the fights.
When Canelo Alvarez finally stepped into the ring against Terence Crawford, the weaknesses many critics had long pointed out became glaringly obvious. Crawford, a southpaw renowned for his adaptability, took control of the fight from the opening bell, shutting down Canelo's offense and preventing him from finding any range or rhythm. Alvarez, who typically relies on patient pressure and counterpunching, appeared one-dimensional in the face of Crawford's fluid movement and ring intelligence. Analysts observed that Canelo frequently threw single punches instead of setting up combinations, and he rarely used his jab, making it even easier for Crawford to control the pace. The gap in skill sets was undeniable, as Crawford's system.
I think there was a lot that we could learn from both of them. I think there's something that Terence Crawford did very well. He did not allow Canelo to get inside, man. Like as soon as Canelo would get into that certain range, he would jab him. And then occasionally he would go low. Canelo could not pop his. He couldn't get inside because pretty much Bud, he's a southpaw, and I feel like Terence Crawford. I feel like Canelo Alvarez had a problem with southpaws, but not just that, dude. It was the range of what Terence Crawford had, dude, and not just that, man. Terence Crawford was actually countering Canelo quite a bit. So as Canelo would throw, he would just sit there, wait, block, and then boom, an uppercut or a right hand. Another mistake that Canelo was making, he was throwing like one shot, and then he was coming back squared, and that's when Terence Crawford would actually catch him. We didn't see any like lateral moves where he would throw and maybe push off to the side. We used to see Canelo Alvarez as what he would do in these fights. Allegiant Stadium, there was a lot of people there. Terence Crawford had to fight backwards and stay composed. Good defense, hands was always up, countering everything that Canelo was throwing at him. He was just a little more active fight. Looking at the fight, bro, like it was competitive. Canelo did hit him to the body, but it was pretty much all Terence Crawford, man. I don't know how many rounds I actually gave Canelo, but I want to see a rematch. Because Canelo did mention, I didn't feel good. Like my body was just, it wasn't reacting. My mind wanted to, but there was something physically with my body that it's just different. So, but overall, boxing tends to put these big events. These fights don't show out like the UFC.
Canelo Alvarez's defeat to Terence Crawford sent shockwaves through the boxing world and ignited serious questions about his future. His demeanor in post-fight interviews hinted at uncertainty, with some speculating that he might even be considering retirement. The way Crawford systematically dismantled him suggested that Canelo's reign at the top of the sport may have come to an end. Crawford's dominant performance was quickly hailed as historic, not only for its technical brilliance but also for what it symbolized, a passing of the torch. While Alvarez had long been considered the face of boxing, Crawford's victory firmly established him as the new standard-bearer. The loss shattered Canelo's aura of invincibility, while for Crawford, it cemented his legacy as one of the greatest fighters of his generation.
Crawford was going to create history. I told you guys this before he fought Sean Porter. I said that Terence Bud Crawford can beat first ballot Hall of Famer and superstar and legend Canelo Alvarez. I've been saying this for years. Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez. And tonight, he did just that. He did just that. Not only beat Canelo Alvarez tonight, but he arguably retired Canelo Alvarez, who after the fight, Canelo Alvarez stated that he's done everything that he needed to do in the sport of boxing. When asked do he want a rematch with Terence Bud Crawford, Canelo Alvarez said, it's no need. He gave no indications of a rematch. And Canelo Alvarez stated that he's a Hall of Famer. He's a winner. Just being there made him a winner, right? And he stated that he's done everything he needed to do for the boxing. That's what he said. Canelo Alvarez got schooled. Once again, I told you guys, styles make fights. This style of boxers and counterpunchers and movers has historically given Canelo Alvarez problems. And as I told you guys, right? Terence Crawford can fight any which way he chooses to fight. He's just that much more versatile.
Terence Crawford's victory over Canelo Alvarez was far more than just another win. It was a defining moment in modern boxing history. By defeating Canelo and capturing all of the Mexican star's super middleweight titles, Crawford solidified himself as the undisputed champion in yet another weight division, placing him in rare company among the few fighters in history to dominate across multiple divisions with such authority. However, the financial side of the bout also drew significant attention. Despite his decisive win, Crawford earned considerably less than Canelo, who walked away with a staggering $150 million.
Crawford making history when he came up against Canelo Alvarez and he won it on points in Las Vegas, and that means he takes all of his super middleweight belts, becoming the first fighter in the modern era to become undisputed champion in 3 weight classes. The man to my left was in Spain. Mr. Jordan got out his bed at 5 in the morning and watched it, and he no doubt saw Crawford speaking.
The great things come to those who wait. You know, the cream always rise to the top. All the time that they blocked me out, they said I wasn't fighting nobody, I can't beat this dude, I can't beat that dude. Every time that I got a chance, I wiped the floor with them. So just imagine where I would have been at today if I had got them opportunities a long time ago. But then again, it wasn't my time. My time is now, and I'm happy that everything played out the way it did, and you're looking at the undisputed champion of the world right now.
That is for sure. Is he the modern day GOAT now, Simon?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you can make the argument for Usyk too. I'm surprised he speaks like that, because it's not normally the way he speaks, and the fact that he's got 3 undisputed means that he must have been given certain opportunities. So I'm surprised he felt the need to say that, but perhaps there was reasons behind it. I mean, Alvarez thought they were going to get him cold because he hadn't fought for 13, 14 months, had some surgery and stuff like that. And the other side of the argument is they've got an Alvarez that's been fighting lesser than opposition. That is not what he once was before. He was there to be beaten by someone of the standard of Terence Crawford, of which they're very few and far between.
Respected trainer Abel Sanchez admitted he was stunned by Terence Crawford's victory over Canelo Alvarez. Sanchez had anticipated that Canelo's experience and power would play a much bigger role in the fight, but instead watched as Crawford dismantled him from the opening round. According to Sanchez, Crawford never allowed Canelo to find his rhythm, consistently smothering his offense with superior timing and footwork. For Sanchez, the outcome was nothing short of a revelation, not just because Crawford won, but because of how decisively he did it. He even suggested that Crawford, having proven
had a great game plan, Bomac put something together that few people expected, including myself. The scores were just the opposite of what I thought they were going to be, but so great.
What do you think was the turning point of the fight, or did you just think from the inception there was no way? Was there a point where you saw, hey man, this just doesn't look good?
From the beginning.
From the beginning.
From the beginning, and then Terence never let Canelo get into a rhythm. Terence never allowed Canelo to get anything going, and I didn't think he could do it for 12 rounds. I thought that the first 3 or 4 rounds were going to be difficult for Canelo for that reason, but Terence was able to do it for 12 rounds, and in the later part of the fight, he kind of pushed the fight more than people expected, which is the mark of a superstar, man.
Abel, starting in the 8th round, we saw noticeable frustration and irritation from Canelo Alvarez. And at one point, 11th and 12th, he looked like he almost walked away, like he almost decided this is too much.
Remember the the Hagler, I'm sorry, the
Duran.
The Duran.
I was
Ray
thinking
Leonard
that.
fight.
I was thinking that. I didn't want to discount by asking him that post-fight, but those were the images that came to my mind. I was going to ask him if he understood more of Duran's plight that night.
Yeah, kind of. Duran had a reason supposedly because he had stomach problems or something like that. But
Right. He said he ate 2 steaks and drank a pot of coffee in New Orleans.
Sometimes frustration causes you to say things that maybe were not true. You know, Terence just fought a great fight, man. You can't. Virtuoso fight, the kind of fight that we're not going to see for a while, and there's nobody out there that can give Terence that kind of test again. And when you have a great fighter that has put up another great fighter, and it happens like this, is you just have to bow your head and, you know, that's the king right now.
The loss to Terence Crawford sparked a wave of renewed criticism, with analysts doubling down on the long-standing belief that Canelo Alvarez's career had been inflated from the start. What was billed as a battle of legacies instead became a revealing moment that exposed the truth behind the hype. Crawford didn't just beat Canelo, he outclassed him, displaying a level of skill that Alvarez simply couldn't match. The consensus among critics was that Canelo had long benefited from favorable matchmaking, strategic.
Alvarez has been dramatically overrated throughout his entire career. The man has never been and never will be an A-plus level elite fighter. Canelo is a B-level fighter. Now, this is something even myself had wrong. I thought at one point Canelo Alvarez was an A-level fighter. He has never been an A-level fighter. He's been overrated, and that's a product of great matchmaking for Canelo Alvarez. The man is a B-plus fighter at best. His best wins are B-level fighters, and the man has been an A-level plus elite fighter throughout his entire career. I mean, Canelo Alvarez, he's unable to make adjustments. A-level fighters are able to make adjustments. Canelo Alvarez is one-dimensional. A-level fighters are not one-dimensional. Canelo Alvarez has poor footwork. A-level fighter has great footwork. Canelo Alvarez is extremely predictable. A-level fighters are not predictable. A-level fighters has a variety of tools in their tool belt. Canelo Alvarez is a B-plus level fighter, but that's not an insult to Canelo. This man beats a lot of fighters. He's done a lot of great things in his career, and I know a lot of people may have an issue with this, but let me break it down. An A-level fighter would not get dominated 3 times in their career. Canelo Alvarez has been dominated 3 times in his career. He was dominated by Floyd Mayweather, dominated by Dimitri Bivol, and he was dominated by Terence Bud Crawford. I'm sorry, A-level elite fighters do not get dominated. An example of A-level plus elite fighters is Floyd Mayweather, is Dimitri Bivol.
One of the enduring myths surrounding Canelo Alvarez was his supposedly iron chin. Throughout his career, he had absorbed heavy shots without appearing seriously hurt, leading many to consider his durability one of his greatest strengths. However, that narrative began to unravel against Terence Crawford. While Crawford didn't land a single knockout punch, the steady accumulation of clean, precise shots visibly wore Canelo down. Instead of walking through the punches as he had in the past, Alvarez looked uncomfortable, hesitant, and at times even stunned.
Canelo chin is overrated, and I'll show you why. Overrated does not mean bad, but shots like this in real time, we look at it like, damn, Canelo took a hell of a shot. But in reality, Canelo has really good defense. Canelo knows how to take a shot. And he knows when to roll, he knows when to deflect, he knows when to parry. Now, I still do believe Canelo has probably the greatest chin of all time. That is still a fact in my opinion. And just because I believe his chin is slightly overrated does not make it bad. As, like I said, the best of all time. I think we need to take some points away from his chin and accredit a lot of this to his defense. Canelo's defense is amazing. How many times do you see Canelo get hit just flush on the jaw? Now, you could tag his forehead all night, hit the side of his head, you know, maybe even his temple at times. But Canelo's jaw is damn near untouchable. I know a lot of you Mexican fans are going to get mad at me because I say this shit. I love Canelo too. He's probably my favorite fighter of all time. But the chin is, it's a bit of a myth. Canelo just really knows how to take a damn good punch, and he's a terrific defensive fighter, especially for a super middleweight. But you guys, let me know, who do you think has the best chin of all time, and how often do you use the rolling technique in the gym or in your amateur bouts?
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.